Alright guys, bear with me here. This is probably going to be a long video. Not because I want it to be long, but because Sheeva had a very different and unique playstyle that I can't even think of any other grappler from any game that plays anything like how Sheeva does in this game. So Sheeva had a command throw in this game. It was a low grab. It was this move right here. And this move functioned in a very unique manner. In order for this to hit your opponent, you had to be crouching, otherwise it would not work. So your opponent had to either be crouching or crouch blocking. They had to be in a crouch state, otherwise this low grab would literally do nothing. It would just go through them. You can see that I'm doing it on Freddy. It's not working, it's going through him. So, but if you got caught in a crouch state, like let's say you were crouching or crouch blocking, you can see how the move activates, and then Sheeva grabs you and pops you up for a full combo. If this low grab hit you, it led to devastating damage. So let's say I do a low grab and it hits you. You're looking to eat at minimum half of your life if this hits you. Literally, you are losing half of your life bar if you get caught by this low grab. That does 50% meterlessly, and for a bar, she can even do more damage. She can do close to 60% just for hitting you with this low grab. So this move was something you obviously wanted to avoid at all costs. You did not want Sheeva to get in and then take half of your life bar because you decided to low block. Now, Sheeva had multiple ways to get you to want to low block. The objective here when playing against Sheeva was you just did not want her to get in your face and you did not want to low block against her. But she had strings like 4-3 back 1. This was a double low attack which was 0 on block. She also happened to have a 6 frame down 1. So she had one of the fastest down 1s in the game. So if you didn't have a 6 frame down 1 challenger after these strings, then you had to play the poking game with her and you had to kind of respect her after that. She also had her back 2, which was 0 on block and it was also low. And this back 2 had a built-in OS, and an OS is basically where you're able to do 2 different options and the best outcome always comes out. So for example, when you do back 2, the follow-up doesn't come out on block, it'll always be 0 on block, but if your opponent happens to get hit by the back 2, then the extension comes out, which is back 1, 1+2, and this will only come out on hit, it'll never come out on block. So she had a built-in OS low, which was 0 on block, and if this hit your opponent, you got a meterless 30% combo into a hard knockdown where she was right next to your face. So she had lows that you had to watch out for. They were a little bit on the slower side, but you had to keep in mind to not get hit by her lows if you're trying to block for the low grab, because you're going to be losing a lot of damage to these low attacks. Now, she had another way that made you want to low block. She basically had, if you didn't want to low block against her, she could technically infinite you on block by doing her high grab. And this move wasn't a command grab like her low grab, it was just a high attack. So if your opponent ducked, it completely whiffed. So you had to duck it to avoid this throw. But here's the thing, you don't want to duck because we just established that you're going to die if you duck. So you had to stand block. So what happens if you stand block this high grab that Sheeva has? Well, this attack is plus 12 on the block. Plus 12, it's plus double digits. I'm going to put Freddy to jump. Do you see how quicker Sheeva jumps before Freddy can even move off the ground? That's how plus it is. So let's say you're doing something like, let's say you're using one of her mids. Her standing 4 is one of her best mids. It's quick, it's like 14 frames, huge hitbox, and if you're stand blocking and she's plus 12, what do you think is going to happen? 4 into this, 4 into this, 4 into this. You're losing so much shit. Plus. Eventually you're going to have to low block, right? This is the scary thing. Eventually you're going to have to low block, right? Otherwise she's going to carry you to the corner while basically block infinitting you. So when you go to duck, well, let's put Freddy on duck here. She just decided to go low grab, and now you die. Because Sheeva was reading that, okay, maybe he's going to duck now to avoid the high grab. Nope, I'm going to go low grab. And if you low block there, you are dead. Now the messed up thing about Sheeva's low grab is that unlike other command grabs in other fighting games, namely NRS games, her command grab jailed off a lot of her moves if you are crouching. Jailing means there's no escape. The only way is you have to get hit by it. So when you're jailed and she does this, even though you know that she's doing 4 into low grab and your character is crouch blocking, you're jailed, meaning you cannot let go block and jump out. You basically have to eat the low grab. So you have to get hit. That's what made her low grab so scary. And if she was doing something like her other strings, like let's say she was doing 2-1-2, which was a great a 4-hit string, it did insane amount of chip on block. It did 2, 4, it did basically over 6%, just about 7%. 7%, you see Freddy's health bar right there. And you could jail into Sheeva's grab because the last hit is an overhead. So you have to block the last hit. So if you're caught stand blocking, this entire sequence is all guaranteed. That's all guaranteed. That's like almost 10% chip damage on block into plus 12. And then you're in the loop. And if you get caught if you get caught crouching on this, she could do this. That's a trap. Because you got caught crouch blocking and are too connected, you're stuck crouch blocking on the rest of her strings, and then at any point she could go into this and you're dead now. Now again, you're losing 50% because you decided to crouch. So Sheeva, when she got in and she was doing her moves, it was very scary because you did not want to be put in a crouch state. Not only did you not want to get caught crouching, but you couldn't even block a string and crouch. Because off of her strings, she could just cancel and then kill you by going into a low. Now, I'm sure you're still looking at the title and you're like, okay, but where's this broken low poke? Because you're kind of going into Sheeva's moves. And I do have to explain a lot of how Sheeva's mechanics work to get to there. So Sheeva had a poke in this game. The most obnoxious poke ever, that if you got hit by it, you were losing half your life. And it was her down 3. Her down 3 was a 7-frame low poke. And before I get into what exactly makes this poke ridiculous and obnoxious to get hit by, I have to explain how the poke system works. So in this game, unlike any other NRS game, which this got completely scrapped from Injustice 1 going forward, in this game, when you hit your opponent with pokes, there's different hit reactions where your opponent goes through depending if they're standing or crouching. So Freddy is standing right now, right? So when I hit him with down 3, he's doing a standing animation. Same thing with down 1, same thing with down 4. He has all these unique standing animations because he's getting hit in a standing state. You put him in a crouch now. This is where MK9 had a unique poke system. Now Freddy has all these brand new animations for getting hit in crouch. You see how he's getting hit and he's not standing? He's completely in crouch, all these moves. This is where Sheeva's insane poke comes into play. Her down 3 on hit was plus 12. You cancel it into her low grab, and the move comes out. The cancel advantage makes this move come out before you're able to get out of the low grab. So if you got hit by her down 3 up close, and she decided to do down 3 into low grab, if she did this and that low poke hit you, this was guaranteed. You could not get out of this. You cannot stand up out of it, you cannot jump out of it, you cannot block out of it, you cannot arm out of it. It was guaranteed. So basically, to put it in short terms for anybody to understand, if Sheeva did down 3 low grab and you got hit crouching, you ate a 50% combo. You lost all of your life because Sheeva did a down 3 low grab and you decided to get hit in crouching and then you die. So a good way for Sheeva to set this up is, let's say she was doing a frame trap, something 0. Or whatever, like this plus, you go to crouch and try to poke. She dashes in, does her down 3 into low grab, and then you're dead. That technically combos. Even though it's not a combo, there's no escape. It's basically guaranteed, and then you eat the full combo. And she had so many mind games. It wasn't only about, okay, is she gonna down 3 hit me with this? But whenever you would get into a poking game with her, a lot of times you would see some Sheeva players, they do things like this. And you're like, dude, what is she doing? Why is she like down 3 machine gunning that? It was because it was scary to counter poke her up close, because she had an EX version of low grab, which was basically the low grab, but with armor. So if she's in your face doing this, and in this game, if you try to counter poke with a low poke, which some characters had to, the characters that didn't have really fast mids, if you had to counter poke with like a down 1, down 3, and she decided to do a poke like down 1 or down 3 into this, and you got caught counter poking, this is basically what would happen. So let's say you're blocking, Sheeva goes to do a poke, and you decide to poke back, right? And she does the EX. You can see that it has armor on it. So your poke is completely getting eaten, and then you're basically going to die, because the armor will absorb your move, and then Sheeva will launch you and go into a 50% combo. And you do not want to be down on life against Sheeva, because then you have to go to her. And Sheeva, for the most part, has to go to a lot of characters. But if you have to go to Sheeva and deal with her game, it's going to be much worse. So, Sheeva in this game, just to mention, because a lot of people may not know this, but Sheeva was the worst character in this game by far. She was... It wasn't even a debate. She was easily the worst character in the game. She had the worst amount of matchups out of anybody. And she had to play a lot of people's games. But if you did not know the Sheeva matchup and you were not aware of all the stuff she had, her frame traps, how you never wanted to block low against her because she could literally kill you, how she could tick throw off almost all of these if you got caught crouching, and there was no escape on a lot of these. Like, the only way to escape this is you had to get hit on purpose. So the only way to escape this is if she was going for the low grab and you saw that as soon as the first hit was blocked, you would have to get hit like this. Let me try and do this. See, that's the only way to escape. But then the Sheeva, knowing that, she could be like, okay, you want to take the hit whenever I come in and do that. Like, let's say she does this plus 12 frame trap, you go to duck. You go to take the hit, she could just do this. You want to take the hit, so she'll just finish the string and go into this. For no risk from her. There's no risk for her just doing this entire string. It jails, ends in plus frames, it combos, and then she gets a good amount of damage and she can get back in. So some of them you could escape, but you have to react very quickly. And if Sheeva had the reactions to be like, okay, he's going to be blocking her, she could cancel it earlier and then completely catch you off guard. And then you get launched, eat the huge damage. And yeah, this was Sheeva. I also want to cover, because her high grab was plus 12 meterlessly, this move was plus 12. She also had an armor version, so she had a plus armor move in the game. Again, to avoid this, you had to duck against her, but that comes with a very risky price if you duck at the wrong time. So she was plus 12, and one of the cool things about this was because she was plus 12 and she was close to you, throws in this game were 10 frames, right? So with Sheeva, if you properly executed a forward dash canceled into a throw like that, if you did this properly, that would be guaranteed because you're stuck standing. When the grab connects, you're stuck standing. I'm gonna put Freddy to duck. If you do it quick enough, the throw is literally guaranteed. So Sheeva, whenever you block her high grab, not only does she have the option to go for a frame trap or a low grab or a stagger or a kind of mix up like that, but she could also literally dash up and get a guaranteed throw attempt. And throws in this game, yeah, like right there, that was guaranteed. So you have to take a strike throw when Sheeva throws if she wants to. She can do a regular throw. Throws in this game were 50-50s. In order to tech a forward throw, you have to press 2 or 4. And in order to tech a back throw, you have to press 1 or 3. And they both have the same animation. So her back throw, you have to tech this by pressing 1 or 3. And her forward throw, you have to tech it by pressing 2 or 4. So it was basically a 50-50. So whenever you blocked her high grab, she could go for a guaranteed throw 50-50, which was unavoidable. You had to just guess right and tech it. Or she could walk up and do a frame trap, and if you try to duck or anything, well, you were dead. And another thing Sheeva had is this game had, some characters had unique throw damage. So some characters would do less damage on their throw. Most characters would do 12% like everybody. But Sheeva had the most damaging throw normally. If she forward threw you, instead of it doing 12%, it did 14%. So her throws did more damage than everybody else. So these throws would add up, and both of her throws would leave you close to her. She had good hit advantage. She was just a character that you didn't want to be up close to her. You wanted to keep her out. You wanted to keep her in footsie range. You wanted her to work to get in. And that's how a lot of characters dealt with her. But if, like I said, if you did not know the Sheeva matchup and you were not aware of any of this, and you just were going up to play against Sheeva and you're like, oh, it's the worst character in the game, I don't care. Like, what is Sheeva going to do? And you were not aware of any of this, you could easily get blown up by Sheeva. And in literally a blink, lose all of your life just for not having the knowledge of what this character could do up close and how quickly she could kill you for just doing something wrong as simple as just low blocking against her. Just low blocking could literally kill you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this. I do apologize for the long video. Like I said, Sheeva was a very unique and different character. She didn't play like other characters. She was designed to be a grappler in a very unique manner. Her frame traps, her grab setups, everything was very different about her. The way that she did the poke game, she could do her EX poke to catch people counter poking with down 1s and down 3s. She had a lot of stuff that just made her very different. So not only was she the worst character in the game, but she also required a player to understand how to play her very well to make her effective. Again, thank you so much for watching.